Hello, I'm Mr. Eddie, President of Edmerica, and this is a Laidback Gourmet special. As I said before, I'm Mr. Eddie, and this is the Laidback Gourmet Halloween special. So you see, apparently after you get a certain number of viewers on YouTube, it becomes mandatory that you have to do a list video. Seriously, who knew? That explains why there's so many of those. So, in order to make my Google overlords happy, and to cap off the month of Halloween in style, I'm going to take a look at what Gravity Falls so perfectly called loser candy. If you ever went trick-or-treating as a kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You always found these second-rate treats at the bottom of your trick-or-treat pillowcase. And yes, pillowcase. Only wimps ever use those tiny little plastic pumpkin buckets. Where did these candies come from? Seriously, many of these candies I never saw in the store as a kid, yet they always seem to mysteriously appear every year to be handed out by the elderly. And yes, nowadays I could probably order every single one of these online from the internet, but as a kid, these were an actual Halloween mystery. Oh, and not all loser candy was even that bad. They were just typically the stuff that was never your first choice. But oh, don't get me wrong, there were the bad candies, the really awful ones that even your sugar-craving preteen addict would refuse to touch. So, in order to celebrate my favorite Halloween activity growing up, here is my top 9 list of most frequently collected Halloween loser candy from my childhood. Why top 9? Because I like to go one step less because I'm a lazy bastard. Number 9. Pixy Stix. Pixy Stix were candy in its most pure form. They are literally tubes of flavored sugar that you poured into your gaping maw. They're like the uncut heroin of Halloween candy. And truth be told, we loved these things as kids. You would rip these things open and basically shotgun them. They were sweet, slightly tart, and bursting with flavor. Pixy Stix. These loser candies definitely had a little bit of magic to them. Number 8. Smarties. For those kids that didn't want to shoot Pixy Stick dust for their sugar rush, don't worry. Smarties were basically Pixy Stick in pill form. Much like Pixy Stix, Smarties weren't just only seen around Halloween. They often made an appearance inside Valentine's Day cards at school or birthday gift bags. Smarties and Pixy Stix straddled that line as legitimate candy and loser candy. They actually kind of exist in their own twilight zone of candy. You never really minded getting them when you got them, but you never really went to the store to look for them either. On the plus side, you always had that wicked sick burn that every child in the world did at some point where they offered their stupid friends some Smarties because they needed them more than you did. And hey, that alone makes Smarties a pretty wise idea to give out on your next Halloween. Number 7. Monster Boxes. Does anyone remember these at all? I mean, anyone? I cannot be the only person that got these growing up. See, Monster Boxes were these little cardboard boxes that contained a tablet of Smartie-like candy. And on that candy, that embossed on it was a classic Hollywood monster, like Frankenstein, Dracula, or Wolfman. It's been so long since I've eaten one of these, or even seen one of these, that my memory's probably flawed, because that's what happens. But I seem to remember loving these as a kid. They were so friggin' cool. The really weird thing about these are that while I do exaggerate a bit saying that you never saw any of these other candies in the store, I can say with 100% certainty that I never saw these for sale anywhere. Before I did this review, I even did an Amazon search to see if I could buy some, and I couldn't even find them there. These things just somehow materialized every year from the ether and found their way inside my trick-or-treating bag. Monster Box candies, a scary good mystery of a treat. Number 6. Mary Jane's. Mary Jane's represent a whole slew of what was once called penny candy and is a throwback to an older time. In this same category are Peanut Chews and Bit-O-Honeys, but I think Mary Jane's are probably the most famous of the lot, probably because of the pot slang and Scooby-Doo and all that. These peanut-flavored taffies may not have been your first choice to eat, but if you had an elderly relative in your house, whew, it was probably their favorite. They could regale you with tales about how in their day, a nickel bought you a sack full of Mary Janes, a movie complete with 3 newsreels, 2 cartoons, and 2 shorts, and enough left over to take the trolley back home. Truth be told, they're not terrible, but now we're at the point in the list where we get to the candies that probably were last to be eaten sometime around Thanksgiving. Mary Jane and other penny candies. Well, you get what you pay for, right? Number 5. Orange and black candies. Growing up, you always had got a handful of these in your trick-or-treat bag, but since there's no info on the wrapper at all, we didn't know what to call them, so we just called them orange and black candies. We were brilliantly creative back then. But you know what? The joke's on us, because recently I did see these for sale at the store, and you know what they're called? Orange and black candies. Well played, younger me. Well played. These candies were basically Mary Jane's, peanut butter flavored taffy with a bit of peanut butter in the center. They're about as nondescript as a candy can get, but I have to admit, part of me loves the simplistic design of them. They kind of look like that generic candy that would be tossed out in every old cartoon special you ever saw. I'm serious. I like the look of these so much that I typically keep a bowl around just for decoration this time of year. I don't necessarily eat them, but hey, they look good. Orange and black taffies. Well, if your mouth doesn't love them, at least your eyes will. Number 4. Good and Plenty's. Now we start to get to the candies that may never have gotten eaten. Good and Plenty's were the bastard cousins to Mike and Ike's. See, while Mike and Ike's were sweet fruit flavored candies, someone thought it would be a great idea to make Good and Plenty's licorice flavored. Now look, I'm sure I'm stepping on a few toes here because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that enjoy these, but I never liked these. The strong licorice flavor basically made your tongue go numb, and I'm not sure if that was due to the anise or if your taste buds just went on strike in protest. The sad thing here is, I think between the two candies, Good and Plenty's purple and white design are way cooler and fits the Halloween motif way better. If only they didn't make your tongue quit in rage. Good and Plenty. Well, I'll agree with the second half of the name. Number 3. Candy buttons and candy necklaces. Here's an example of a candy that we were tricked into liking. You take a mediocre flavored candy and you give it a gimmick and all the kids loved it. The thing is, in both cases, the gimmick made it harder to eat the actual candy. With candy necklaces, you ended up having to gnaw on the candy beads on the string like a rat with a wire, and you ended up slobbering all over the string that you're supposed to be wearing around your neck. It's gross. Why can't you just give me a handful of candy? What's wrong with that? Even worse than putting the candy on a rope was sticking them to paper. Candy buttons not only taste worse than candy necklaces, but they're even less enjoyable to eat. You either have to try to peel them off the paper, or you have to try to gnaw the candies off. And either way, your candy ends up with paper stuck to the back of them. So not only are you eating mediocre candy, but you're getting a nice hunk of paper flavor to go along with them. Candy necklaces and candy buttons. They're as delicious as they are fun to eat. And that's not a compliment. Number 2. Wax candies. I'm not sure if these are a thing anymore, but when I was a kid, you used to get 2 different kinds of wax candies every year while trick-or-treating. The better of these 2 were wax bottles. These were little bottles made out of supposedly edible wax that held out about a tablespoon of flavored candy syrup. You basically bit the tip off and then drank the liquid from inside. And while the candy liquid was pretty good, I had friends that would eat the bottles too, and I never understood that. I know it's technically edible wax, but it's edible, flavorless wax. That's not what I want to eat. But even worse than that were wax lips. These were the same idea as wax bottles, but you didn't even get the candy syrup. These were just wax in the shape of funny giant lips or fangs, and you stuck them in your mouths and it gave you fake lips. It was an okay novelty for all of about 5 seconds, and then you threw it away. But then again, I had friends that actually ate these stupid things. Yeah, I know many of them were sort of, kinda flavored, but they were like eating cherry-flavored crayons. However, unlike my weird friends, I think most kids were like me and just ended up throwing these candies away. Wax treats. Hey, what could be better than a candy you just ended up throwing away? Number 1. Necco Wafers. Behold, the worst candy ever. You know how I earlier joked that Mary Jane's were like the elderly's favorite candy? Well, while you might have to be over the age of 70 to enjoy Mary Jane's, I think to enjoy Necco Wafers you have to be over the age of... dead. No one likes these things. No one likes these. Anyone that claims to like these are probably an alien in disguise, and we should check their blood Star Trek style. You know how I usually rate stuff on my wacky 1 to 5 scale? Well, I couldn't do that with Necco Wafers, because I'd have to create a new number. It would have to be a large number 0, with a picture of Scrappy Doo that reads, not actually edible. For those of you who have never had Necco Wafers, they're basically flat discs of different flavored chalk. The uninitiated might look at these and think, oh good, they're like large Smarties. Oh no, that'd be like confusing wasabi with pistachio pudding, something I may or may have not have done in my youth. Anyway, while Necco Wafers do have different flavors, they're not the flavors you're probably used to. You get mint, licorice, asphalt, cyanide, and seasonal depression. Necco Wafers. Only on this list could they ever be considered a number 1. Well, that concludes this, my first ever list review. What do you think? Do you agree with my choices? Do you have any to add yourself? Well, give your thoughts in the comment section down below, and maybe we could strike up a discussion that won't invoke Godwin's Law. Wouldn't that be nice for a change? Oh, and feel free to like and subscribe as well, of course. And be sure to give this video to any trick-or-treaters that come your way. They'll enjoy it way better than any of those Necco Wafers and wax lips you were planning to give out. Oh, and if you ever want to become an actual honorary member of Edmerica, you can do so by hitting me up over on the link provided below for Facebook. With this, sadly, our month of Halloween videos come to a close. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoy, and I really hope you have a great Halloween for yourself. It's my second favorite holiday of the year. Until next time, I'm Mr. Eddie, President of Edmerica, and your very own Laidback Gourmet, wishing you good frights to one and all.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom.
Hoidly!